So let's go ahead and get the citizens' communication. We have several items that are identified after that for executive session. As posted on the board, we will only be bringing up item 24, which is the biomass plant. So let's go with citizens' communication. The first speaker that we have is Ray Nadler, Alnick.
The March 31st City Council meeting opened with a tribute to the late Mary Gay Maxwell, the longtime Environmental Board chair who passed away last month. I knew Dr. Maxwell years ago through her work on the board, but only recently I ran into her at the post office. Her first words to me were, "Are you still fighting fluoridation?" And when I said I was, she said, "Good, keep it up. Someone needs to." Now, a little history. In 2009, after many months of fruitless advocacy before the then City Council, we took our case to the Environmental Board. Dr. Maxwell, at that time, was completely open-minded. The idea of fluoridation or fluoride as an environmental issue had not occurred to her, but she was willing to listen and learn. And for 4 consecutive meetings in the summer of '09, we appeared before the board, bringing our own highly qualified experts, including a dentist and a PhD chemist. Our efforts culminated on August 19th in a unanimous EB recommendation to City Council to appoint an independent task force, including but not limited to city personnel, to study the impact of Austin's water fluoridation program. Their recommendation was never relayed to Council. Instead, an assistant city manager sidetracked it and commissioned a hasty, all-internal whitewash report composed of cut-and-paste fluoridation endorsements from the CDC and Austin Water Utility, plus some original material from Watershed. The sham report was then released in November, not to the Environmental Board, but via the Austin Chronicle. Mary Gay Maxwell, a gracious lady, as we know, was outraged by this affront to her hardworking board. And when the city's designated fluoride apologists, Jane Barazer and Dr. Philip Wong, showed up at the December 2009 Environmental Board meeting to promote their shabby document, she let them know in no uncertain terms, "You have not answered our questions." The board then voted for a second time to call for a truly independent task force to study fluoridation in Austin. That second resolution was ignored entirely up to this day. I think addressing the still unresolved issue of an honest look at fluoridation outside of the city's bureaucratic echo chamber would be a perfect way for this all-new council to honor her memory. And now let's hear what she had to say.
Okay. The next speaker we have. Hang on one second. This is Walt.
Yes, this is
Yes,
Walter.
sir.
Just play that clip. We'll hear from Mary Maxwell herself.
Actually, both of your concerns. That was the first question you had is a question for me, and we don't really have a good answer These are all unanswered questions that came up when we had this discussion in the summer, and we've yet to get answers on this. The last one is that, let's see. No, I got that. Those are my unanswered questions. So, put me out there.
Speaker,
Mr.
may
Mayor?
we have?
Can I make
Yes.
a remark before he goes? Quickly?
Okay.
Very quickly. So I'm glad that we had that Public Utility Commission meeting on fluoridation. I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was worth the time. But just to let you know, one of the fallout pieces from that is now it takes 2 members of council to get something on the agenda. So I can't do it again.
All right.
Maxwell South.
I'd like to respond, Mr. Moncada, to actually both of your concerns. That was, the first question you had is an unanswered question for me, and we don't really have a good answers for this form of fluoride. And then kind of circling back around to what you said about our request this summer. We requested that there be a study conducted by, that would be outside, actually, not, maybe it would involve some of the city staff and some of the city departments, but it would also involve outside scientific experts who could give us some, clearer information on, and until this moment, we have not received any response to our request and to our recommendation, which we forwarded to council. So I have unanswered questions too, and I just wanted to agree with Mr. Moncada in the sense that we didn't have this report from staff in a timely fashion. I'm going to just put this in here right now. Another unanswered question is that actually the American Dental Association has changed their position regarding children and infants. That happened in 2006, and that hasn't been mentioned. They have cautioned the use of water that has fluoride in it in infant formulas. So that is another, it seems like that's another unanswered question here. It looks also from the report, as I read it, that there is agreement among staff that there is potential for problems at higher levels, the fluoride being used at higher levels. It seems that both the medical director and the environment and the watershed protection staff have mentioned that potential, that they don't think it's a problem now. They haven't had any evidence of that, but it could be in the future. There is also an agreement, it seems, from what I've read, that topical application works to prevent decay, but systemic application doesn't necessarily prevent tooth decay. These are all unanswered questions, and they came up when we had this discussion in the summer, and we've yet to get answers on this. The last one is that, let's see. No, I got that. Those are my unanswered questions. So, putting it out there.
Speaker. Next speaker we have is Linda Green.
Dear Mayor and City Council, I'm going to postpone my talk on approaching zero waste and also defer to Mary Gay Maxwell, who wanted to know the truth about fluoride in our water, the hexafluorosilicic acid added to our water. You've been given handouts that include copies of both the Environmental Board's recommendations in August and December of 2009, plus a DVD of the December 2, 2009 Environmental Board meeting. A copy of the city's fluoridation report will be delivered to your office later today or tomorrow. We still affirm that this fluoride that's added to our water is a byproduct of the big agribusiness. It's toxic. It's not your natural calcium fluoride, and we'd like Mary Gay Maxwell to speak again.
My concern about all of this is, if I can do this, we had an opportunity in the summer to have a thorough discussion. We had a lot of input from citizens. We had some concerns as a board. We asked for an independent study that would be based in science. We asked that from the council. The city staff was directed by the city manager to do a study within the departments of the city. No mention was ever made that the environmental board had made this request. The dots were not connected. That puts us in a very awkward position. And we knew nothing about this report until Mr. Ahart actually heard that this was happening rather informally. That puts our board in a difficult position. And I just want people to understand that. We were trying to do something that didn't need to get escalated to the point where we are now. This could have been avoided. And I want that to be in the record, because that's the thing that gets to me the most, is we did not have to have it come to this level of escalation at this point, and it didn't have to come back to our board at our board's request, even been responded to in any way, shape, or form. So I'm just registering my extreme displeasure at this outworking of this effort that we made in all honesty and in goodwill. We were not doing anything that was conflictual or subversive or anything else.
I think that's time. Thank you.